James sat on the park bench, staring at the torn eviction notice in his hands. Just a week ago, he had a job, an apartment, and a sense of direction. Now everything had unraveled. No friends to call, no family to lean on, only himself. He exhaled, glancing at the city around him. People hurried by, lost in their own worlds. No one saw him. No one cared. But why should they? He had given up on himself first. A deep hunger gnawed at his stomach, but he ignored it. Instead, he reached into his pocket and pulled out the last thing he had of value, a crumpled $5 bill. He could buy food, or he could take a chance. James walked into a small bookstore. He had always loved reading, but he had never written anything himself. He found a cheap notebook and a pen. It cost exactly $5. He hesitated, then bought them. That night, under a street lamp, he wrote. He wrote about his failures, his regrets, his dreams. Page after page, he poured his soul onto paper. Days passed. Then weeks. One evening, a woman in a cafe saw him scribbling away. Curious, she asked what he was writing. He hesitated, but handed her the notebook. She read in silence, then looked up with tears in her eyes. "This is incredible," she whispered. "You should publish this." James laughed bitterly. "I don't even have a place to sleep." She smiled. "That can change. Let me help." A year later, James stood in a bookstore, staring at his first published book on the shelf. His story had saved him, because when no one else had believed in him, he had taken the first step. He had believed in himself.